We are live. Let me know when you got video and sound.
Oh, live.
Live, man. All right, I'm switching. You ready?
Nice.
And bam. It is October 12th. It's my dad's birthday.
Oh.
His second birthday since he passed. Happy birthday, Dad. So it's October 12th. I'm Chris.
I'm Charlie.
And we are
8-ballin'.
And it's a Saturday, so I got a tequila in front of me. Fridays and Saturdays, I think that's kind of a thing now.
Yeah. We'll try to. We'll play it by ear.
Do you want a beer? Or are you
No,
holding
no,
off?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm just trying to.
Little product placement.
There you go.
Okay. I got a little housekeeping, but we'll set that aside because it's not fresh in my mind. And dig right in.
All right. So Chris is wearing a University of Michigan thing today.
Did not even think of the irony or coincidence.
Right. And Michigan, I believe, won. I didn't see the end of the game, but
They did.
When I left, they were up 42
They won
to
3
25.
quarters. Hopefully, if the 3 quarters add up to more than the quarter you lost, you're good. And in this case, they were.
Right. That's how it works, right?
Yes. Whoever has more points at the end of the game. Yes.
Oh, that's
So
funny.
yes.
I don't know
lost
anything
by
about
they lost by the total score, not 3-1, because they won 3 quarters of 4.
But then why is it in golf you want a low score?
I wasn't prepared to answer these. Get into this cerebral conversation. I thought we were going to talk about the social aspects of sports.
All right. So I'm a loss.
You can continue.
Anyway, lost
you
cause.
can continue to confuse me if you like.
I'm just doing some second level humor.
I'm
But,
aware of that. That's why I'm introducing a little irony.
All right.
And I will dumb myself down
Good. I need
just
that.
for the purpose of
Being able to
entertaining whatever might be coming my way
Perfect.
with some tequila.
Nice. Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Clink.
Cheers, Dad. Happy birthday.
Anyway, so earlier today I was watching the Michigan game, and I was with one of my buddies. And this is something that I always say. I've said it on the show before, but I don't understand the whole. And saying I don't understand sports that doesn't hit the nail on the head. That's very broad and doesn't fully encompass what I mean.
Yeah, I'm not sure you've said it to the extent that people would know it. So maybe you want to just introduce totally your mindset.
Right. So I am not entertained by sporting events, televised sporting events. It doesn't compute with me. I don't get the thrill of the watch. Now, playing is a whole other thing. That's a team, being part of a team, doing something active with your buddies. That's a whole other part. That's fine with me. I'll do that. But the being a fan is where my wires get crossed.
But that would also include going to a stadium, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so not just TV, just the whole thing.
Right. And yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm kind of the same way about whatever, you could say concerts, but it's not like that's a whole, I don't even know why I said that.
No,
I'll
it's
admit
okay.
that. Yeah. So my question to my buddy earlier today is, why is it such a big deal? Why do people on Sunday and Saturday, they sit in front of the TV and they go, fucking throw the ball. God damn it. Fuck. Why do some people just get like that? Right.
So I would say, first off, right there, 2 very separate things. Why do you sit in front of the TV on Sunday? So there's that. And then there's the, why do you allow it to get to you so much? What's going on? We suck, blah,
and
blah, blah.
the first part really leads into my second part. Well, I would start the conversation by saying the TV watching thing, and then I'd say, you do it because of this, but why do you care so much in the first place? So I couldn't care less what the outcome of any given sporting event is unless it's, America versus Nazi Germany in 19 whatever,
With M16s.
right? Yeah, right. So
Die, Nazi.
now that being said, I got into it with my buddy, so I kind of know where my thoughts, my questions are, and my answers.
I got to interject real quick.
Go ahead.
Hey, white supremacists, fuck off. Okay.
Nice. Always needed. just like Justin Trudeau.
Because I think
continue
there's a
fighting.
correlation between Nazis and white supremacists.
Yeah,
don't you think?
a little bit, a little bit more.
Well, no, they're not necessarily connected.
Could you possibly meeting like a Nazi that's committed to diversity? It'd be so funny.
Okay, right there. There's definitely a high correlation, like 9.9. Anyway, sorry.
All right, so
I'm in a good mood. I'm gonna have a hard time not doing what we
usually do.
set out not to do after.
No, that's
episode
good. I like
1.
that stuff. That's what gets me at my best.
So if you're one of our, like, I don't know, 20 to 30 watchers versus our 5 to 10 watchers on the first episode, so all 20 of you, we had a problem like staying on track because we would interrupt each other with our long-standing, short-standing, depending upon how you measure the length of relationships, right?
Pot shots.
Well, no, just the nature of our relationship where, and I have this, I'm like this with other close friends where you just continue to interrupt each other with interjections, your own little like brief anecdotes and whatever.
Yeah, which is fine, and I like that. That's
So
kinda
tonight we
yeah.
do that.
Right. Yeah, good stuff.
It's Saturday
so it's
night.
allowed. Yeah.
Right. Good stuff, noodle
Saturday
salad,
night, we're...
tequila, and ginger beer.
Yeah, good mix. Well,
All right, sorry.
No
So
problem.
keep going.
Yeah, so getting into it, my buddy, we got into a few parts of it. And now let me say what I will allow and what I understand but do not fall, what categories I do not fall into. Gamblers. If you're going to gamble on a sporting event, I understand why you might care and why you're so interested in the whole thing, right? Because you got to not only understand your team that you're rooting for or betting on, you got to understand the other teams they're up against and the situations that involve them, everything. You got to know the whole, what the hell is it? Yeah.
The spread?
Yeah,
spiel?
whatever. The whole Gamilla, I was going to say.
shtick?
Is that a word?
I don't know. That
Nope.
sounds like a nice Italian word that might make it up. I don't care. Saturday. Fuck them.
Finocchio. Yeah. Chris is our in-house Finocchio. So for those of you who know Italian, you're welcome. But
Wait, so let me interject. Because there's, in terms of gambling, there's, I was going to say 2, but maybe 3. So there's addictive gamblers, right, who are just fucked up in the head and got to gamble.
which is already, like, if we're just going to be looking at it on its face, that's already some kind of a psychological
So I think
problem.
I'd even just dismiss that category because I don't think that's
right.
what
That's
you're
what I'm
talking
saying.
about.
We're not. Yeah.
And then there's people who bet like
$100, whatever.
bucket list. I don't have a bucket list, but list of things to do in life. I would like to go to Vegas the week that, or the 2 weeks, part of the 2 weeks that the college teams play in the tournament. You know,
Yeah.
March Madness. I just think it would be fun.
Yeah.
And on every game, while I'm there, I'd put say $5 to $50 or whatever on each game. In which games I have no horse in the race. You know, I'm a
Yeah.
Michigan fan, so I'm going to root for
Right.
them. Maybe root for Big Ten, but just to have somebody to root for.
Sure.
Right? Fill out a bracket, bet on my winners, root that much harder because I'm going to lose $10 or $50 or
right.
whatever.
Yeah. And now that makes perfect sense to me
Yeah,
from a rational perspective.
yeah, you're actually vesting yourself in a game you otherwise don't give a shit about, right?
Right. And you wouldn't have any reason to be making an
So that-
educated
so that
guess.
you get.
Right.
And then there's in between, which I actually don't understand. You're not the addictive gambler who's trying to dig himself out of a hole. You're not the guy who's like, I got no dog in this fight.
Let's make it interesting.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
I want one, and I can achieve that by throwing $20 on the
Right.
game. And then there's in between. So,
And I've actually tried doing that to get myself interested in it.
and you don't care.
Don't give a fuck. I'm like, oh, whatever.
I get that.
Give me the money.
You know why
Yeah.
you don't give a fuck? Because you don't give a fuck.
Because it's stupid.
And you're like, sometimes we can delude ourselves, other times we can't, and whatever. At least you tried.
Yeah, it's funny. Right after I had this conversation with my buddy, I go to my dad. I'm like, I just don't understand. And he's like, I don't care. And he's like, try caring. And it's like the episode of Dexter when his dad is teaching him how to like fit in like a normal human being, not like a psycho killer. He's like, Dexter, you have to hide your true self.
Wasn't
because
that a
people will
bunch of
see."
episodes?
Oh yeah, that was pretty much a lot. That was a lot of them, right? The flashbacks.
I struggle with that show. It was too fucked up. But anyway.
Yeah, but part of that was like lying to others to fit in, like so so you see here.
Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, am I the psychopath in this? Yes, I am. But anyway, the the thing is, so that's one. Gambling, you're off the hook. If it's collegiate and you
I'm telling
went there,
myself all these jokes in my head right now that nobody's getting the benefit of. Sorry.
it's all right. So yeah, the gamblers, you're off the hook, and then collegiate fans, if you went there, I understand that, or if you have
my
some kind of a tie, right?
Gosh, okay. You
What?
just stole part of what I was going to talk about.
Well, I have no problem with that. Why would I care? It's like if you went to Michigan, you pay, part of Michigan is not just their education. It's part of it is the football, and part of it is their golf team or whatever the hell, right?
Yeah.
And all
Okay.
that stuff's combined.
So
So
keep
you
going.
can be we're good at school and sports, right? That's part of being whatever. I
Okay,
get
that's another conversation because that's a bunch of horse shit. But
Well, I'm just
anyway.
saying, like, you can root for your team in all the
Right,
endeavors
right.
that they partake in, right?
Be true to your school.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah,
I don't care about
be
that.
true to your school.
Yeah.
Isn't there a song?
Yeah.
I think there is.
The thing for me is the Lions fans who are like, "Fuck the Lions, fucking they suck, but they're my team." I'm like, why don't you just go like start rooting for the Packers or something like that? And my buddy was like, "What?" And I'm like, I get it. You're from Detroit or whatever. That's cool, but are you really? Is it that much of a sin? It's like I don't.
So to me, the really quick, and perhaps we're going to end this conversation abruptly and need to move on, is one is, let's say you don't go to college and you want that being part of a community that includes something as simple and or social or whatever the combination thereof is of the community that is sports.
And we touched on that too. The social aspect. I'm also going to sign off on
So
that.
at a really high level, think of it this way: who likes going to Super Bowl parties?
People who like being around people. Yeah,
Pretty
whatever.
much everybody,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Social
Yeah,
people.
Yeah. Right.
Who doesn't? Do you go to Super Bowl parties?
Yeah.
Do you give a fuck about the outcome of the game?
No. Yeah.
Do you have-
Sometimes I
do
get
you-
wrapped up in it just because of the energy. But yeah.
Yeah. So
Right,
you
right.
have fun, and
Yeah.
there's rah-rah in the TV, and it's kind of benign, but you kind of look, and there's cheering going on, and there's an atmosphere to it that kind of permeates into the room and the crowd and all that, and it adds to fun.
Right.
And I would say at a really high level, if you really don't care that much about football or whatever the sport is, it's just benign entertainment. And while I make fun of it, it's kind of like, I make fun of NASCAR people, and
Yeah.
I genuinely think that is kind of the most vapid of all events that actually have a purported winner.
And just as a reminder, Chris is a race car driver.
Purported winner.
Right.
Yeah, but yes, that having been said, I don't go around in circles like the race, and I can get into this, but anyway, the race car driving I do, you accelerate, you brake, you turn left, you turn right.
I just wanted to make it clear that you do drive cars at a high speed competitively against other drivers, but you just do it in a different way, right?
And still make fun of NASCAR.
Right.
Yes.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
That's
no. I just wanted people to know that you weren't coming at it like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, or
right.
yeah.
And or you're just a knucklehead who doesn't understand what race car driving is.
Right. Which is why I never say
Because I'm vested
yeah.
in it.
Right. Which is why you'll never ever hear me say fucking Michigan, that team sucks, because I don't know shit about it and it's not my place, right? I'll never get in on that conversation because A, it doesn't matter to me, B, it's not my position. I
Yeah,
don't
but
have
if
the
you were to
facts.
say football's stupid, period, I'd be like, well, dude, I went to U of M. Okay, and that has to do
It's kind of
with
a non sequitur,
what?
right? Yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah.
you kind of acknowledge, be true to your school.
Yeah. But you could also like the golf team or the fucking rowing team.
Yeah, but you were encompassing sports as part of the total institution.
Yeah,
and
just-
the 4-year experience
and the chess
whatever
team and
precedes
whatever
it.
your fraternity.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Rah-rah team, root for
Yeah.
your school.
Tribalism. I said that earlier. My friend just was like, fucking tribalism. What?
He didn't even understand what you meant.
That's Derek.
Hey, Derek.
I told you didn't understand. And he was like, I'm in psychology right now. This is my thing.
my
and I was
gosh.
like, all right. And I told him
Okay.
I was going to send this to him and we're talking about you, but don't feel bad. Still love you. So
So, dude, do you know you need to learn what tribalism means?
it was tough. Anyway, that being said,
hang on. I work for a manufacturing company.
Yeah.
We're probably, if not the best, one of the best companies in terms of being able to manufacture. Hey, Bri.
Hi.
We're live, just so you know. If you want to participate, come join. If not, that's cool too.
free country.
I'm gonna go get the kids some food.
Okay.
Dogs out till 8:30.
You say that again.
Having
What
a
till
lot of fun
8:30?
here.
Dogs out till 8:30.
Rock and roll.
Anyway, so
My buddy Brian, who's been on other episodes, perhaps he's doing some shit for me around the house. But anyway, so we make a particular type of gear,
yeah,
and we're arguably the best at it in the world.
yeah,
And most of it is what we refer to and is referred to as tribal knowledge,
sure.
which
Yeah.
is tribalism.
pertaining to
right?
your particular. Yeah,
We know how to do this shit.
Right.
We don't share it with others because we're good at it and we have a competitive advantage literally globally.
yeah.
And hey, say hi to the world.
Hi, YouTube.
Let's go. Doing all right?
Are you saying hi or giving me an update?
No, just bye.
All's good. Oh, you're out of here?
Yeah.
You're going to get them food as in you're out of here.
Out of here, out of here.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
All right, well, say later, world.
Phase one's done. Later, YouTube.
Rock and
Millions
roll.
of fans.
All right, thank you.
See you, Brian.
Looks awesome.
Yeah, it does.
Cool. How long before these guys go out?
8:30.
Cool. Don't have my watch on.
It's almost 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
So yeah, we've gone down the tribalism rabbit hole. But anyway, sorry, dude, you don't get it. Anyway, let's move on.
yeah. So that's fine. That's all cool. But then I wouldn't say that football is stupid. I think that being so intensely involved when you're not involved, aka being a fan and not a player, you're kind of. It's like that Bill Burr sketch where he goes, "What do you mean we? Did you catch that? Did you catch that pop fly, or did you catch? Did you throw the winning touchdown, or did you make the play?" And it's like my buddy goes, "Well, what about people? There's like if they're known in the stands, they're gonna play bad because they think that everyone hates them."
Okay.
and I'm like,
you and I struggle with some stuff because we're both cerebral guys, and we're admitted intellectual snobs, right?
I just think rationalism should be the root of all decision making.
But people aren't rational.
That's my point about this whole sporting thing. It's irrational
But
and
if
it
somebody
doesn't
said to
make
you,
sense.
you know what, dude? I know it's totally irrational. I get a charge out of it. I can't explain why, and I don't want to explain why, and leave me alone.
I would say, dude, you're the first person in my whole life who's been honest with me about that. Thank you so much. High five. You're my best friend. But everyone is always like trying to say that there's some
Trying to
magical
talk you
shit
into
that is.
something.
And I'm like, just to fucking admit to me that you
Okay.
like it because you like it and you can't explain why.
Okay, most people can't get there because most people are not that self-aware. And it's part of just being, I think being self-aware is part of understanding your mind. And I don't think at the, what's the term?
What?
The dangerous people, like 100 to 115 IQ people.
Oh,
Sorry.
midwits.
Okay, if you're a midwit, you're marginally to completely not
Unaware.
self-aware.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay. So I would have said to you, when I have literally nothing better to do on a Sunday afternoon, I'll watch the Lions. And when I'm watching them, I root for them.
Yeah.
And because that particular organization is so pathetic, and I don't know, maybe it's because it's pro sports, and I just try not to vest myself in what happens. That said, I grew up in Detroit. I still live in Metro Detroit. Be true to your school,
Yeah. Right.
Right.
That's exactly what I mean. Yeah.
metaphorically speaking.
Sure. But then
S-
wouldn't
so-
it be true that you kind of care about it in all aspects? Like,
Well, I do.
Yeah,
if,
yeah.
if the Red Wings win the Stanley Cup, woohoo!
right.
I'm happy,
Sure,
right?
Yeah. Hockey is actually
Right?
the
If the-
sport that hits closest to home with me for some reason.
Yeah,
but yeah.
well, because you relate
Yeah.
to the sport itself.
Sure.
But NBA,
Or-
which
yeah.
I kind of think the NBA is kind of gross, but if the Pistons are in the finals, yay, go Pistons, And if the Tigers are like, if there was a game 6 or 7 of the World Series, I'll watch.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
yeah, sure.
Like, and I'm not joking, game 6 or 7. When there was a game 5, and I don't even know what happened, there was a game 5.
2015.
No,
Oh.
the other day, like Thursday night, there was a game 5.
Oh,
And I was like, yeah, I'll be interested to know what that score is because it's
Yeah.
a game 5.
sure.
My point being, like, when it gets down to it and these guys get really serious about it, then I'm interested. And when there's, some, I don't know, when the stakes are higher, it becomes more interesting to me. But that's part of the whole self-awareness thing, right? So I live in Detroit, go Lions. I prefer they win. If they don't, not that big a deal. Beyond that, easy come, easy go.
Right. And that's how I would expect most people.
And I would not have any expectation of anybody to have any particular understanding of why it is that I think what I think. That having been said, I also think that about every fucking thing I think about everything in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
so your point is, okay, that being the case, you and I share a lot of similar views on, like, so Greta, right? We got things on Greta, and high five on your opinion on that, or high five on, I know who she is, but I don't care.
Right.
I'll give you an example. One of Sherry's kids, I encouraged them all to continue their education. And I kind of kept on.
Mm-hmm.
And one night, one of the girls turned to me and she said, you know what? She goes, I work 40 hours a week. I don't have the energy to do anything to advance myself career-wise beyond the 40 hours a week I work. I don't have the energy. I don't want to get a degree. I just want to do my job. And honestly, she's like, I'm good with where I am. And I don't want that. While it might help me and I respect what you say, I just don't want to do it.
Right.
And you know what I said to her?
Good for you.
I said, thank you for telling me that.
Self-awareness,
I will never
yeah.
ask you again.
Right.
Because now I know where you stand.
That's
You've
exactly
told
my
me
point.
I don't want to do it.
That's exactly
I
my
don't
point.
want
yeah.
to do it.
Yeah,
Guess
yeah.
what? Now I know where you stand. And so there's no gray area. So I'm not going to beat you up. I'm not going to waste my time or your time. So it's very similar to what you said. Like, high five, cool. Thank you for the honesty. I
Yeah.
understand where you are.
Enjoy your football
There's
game.
nothing
Yeah.
left to talk about.
Yeah, that's it. Case
Cool,
closed.
let's have dinner.
Case closed.
Case
right.
closed.
Right.
Now, so to play devil's advocate or whatever, you didn't go to college. So,
Even when I did, I didn't really give a shit about CMU's college.
yeah, but
Yeah.
where I was going to go with that was, so real quickly. So I have Michigan football tickets. I have club level seats. They're stupid expensive.
Yeah.
But because of the chair and the weather and the whole
worth
fucking
it, yeah.
thing, well, it makes it doable.
Yeah, right.
If it rains or if it's really cold, I don't want to go, and that's like a third of the games.
Yeah.
So flush a third of the games down the toilet. I stay home. I watch them on TV. It's a better football experience. So if I'm not going to a third and then another half of the remaining games, there's schedule conflicts or I can't find anybody to go with, and a ticket goes to waste, I'm like, why the fuck am I doing this? So my dad and I elected to go to club seats. He was older. I'm in a chair. Club seats make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
So now I pop for the club seats. And I had a point. What the fuck was it?
Tequila.
Damn tequila. Wait, I love tequila. Wait, I hate tequila. Wait, I love tequila.
Uh,
Oh my gosh, what do I do? Boom. That explodes on live on the internet. Which is what will supplant TV.
I love this. I love
ultimately.
this thing.
Anyway, this show.
I
what
love
we
it
do,
so much. Yeah.
Uh,
Head explodes on the internet.
boom, blood everywhere. Headless body with a yellow Michigan sweatshirt. How ironic.
Maize and blood.
Maize and blood. Fuck. Where was I going?
Sporting event. You don't go to, at CMU, you didn't care.
Oh, anyway, I think part of where I was going, backing up a couple steps was, so for Michigan, for football. My brother was like, dude, what are you going to do? You going to just fucking, and this was when I was in the total throes of what was going on with Sherry. And if you don't know that, you will reasonably soon. And he's like, so you just going to like stay home and fucking go to work and go home and confine yourself to your house and
Yeah.
watch Michigan football and whatever else. So for me, college football is a hobby. Like paying attention to it is a hobby. And I've chose to make it matter. Does it matter in the grand scheme of things? No.
Right.
But you and I had this conversation about the Olympics.
Yeah.
And I asked you how you felt about the Olympics. And you're like, well, that's a different deal because that's a bunch of individuals who have invested themselves in being really good at a particular thing.
Which goes to the competitive nature of the activity.
Well,
a
and then I
sport,
asked you,
right?
I asked you about, and because I think this is like the pinnacle of illustrating getting invested in and spending yourself in an activity. And I was like, do you remember this? I said, what about, what's the game where they slide the thing
Oh,
in the
curling.
ice?
Yeah.
Curling. Because I love watching curling. And guess what? These people aren't athletic. They're chubby. Whatever.
Usually, right? Yeah.
But they have a skill.
yeah, and they're better than I am at it. And apparently
Right.
the rest of the people in the world. So
Right.
right. It's something interesting to watch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because
So that's
they are
fine.
devoted to being the best
Yeah.
at something. And I think that's worthy of recognition. And I like watching that on television.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people are like, how do you watch the Winter Olympics? There's like so much boring shit. But I like watching the Summer Olympics where
I like it too.
watching people run 100 meters or watching them run a marathon and everything in between, they have spent how many freaking years of their life being really good at running. And running is pretty rudimentary activity, right?
It's kind of essential, right, to the whole
But running,
bipedalism.
right?
Yeah.
And there's a different way to train for the 100 meter and a different way to train for a marathon.
Yeah.
And I just love watching somebody who has spent the greater portion of their life for a certain amount of years trying to be the best at something. I just think has value, and I like watching it. And this somehow tied back to professional sports, and I no longer remember what. Oh, so let's say you don't go to college. Let's say you,
Oh, having a team, you mean?
yeah. So
Yeah. It's good to be
I'm
part of a tribe.
Detroit, right? So just tribal investment.
Yeah. Cool. Sign off. Check mark.
So your problem is more that people are.
Dishonest about their intentions.
I think they're clueless. I don't think they're dishonest.
It makes me so sad then, because
So,
it just means
okay.
that every sports fan is
So-
a moron.
so
I
what
don't want to
this-
say that.
I
That's
was just
horrible.
going to say what this boils down to is you struggle with people's inability to connect intellect or lack thereof to what they're doing in life.
Like my last talk with someone was like, if I told you that the outcome of any given sporting event, other than that, Joe Louis, whatever, has pretty much
Wait.
no effect.
Back up so I know what you're talking about on Joe List because
Wasn't that
you
the
lost me.
Nazi Germany boxing match where he beat
Don't know.
1938 Hitler or whatever, something like that?
Was it the Olympics?
31?
1938 Olympics.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like Jesse Owens and
Yeah, when
Oh, Joe Louis was part of that.
I thought that's when he, Adolf Hitler is like, the black boxer beat our fucking Nazi star or our
I have
Aryan
to
race
tell
guy.
you a story. So you've heard of Jesse Owens, right?
No.
Jesse Owens was, in his time, arguably the best sprinter in the history of Olympics.
Okay.
And I forget his events, but it was shorter distance running. And he won medals, wherever the 1938 Olympics were, and they might have been in Germany.
Berlin, I thought. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he went to Berlin. He won medals. Hitler shook his hand.
Yeah.
He's a black guy.
Wow.
Okay. So they said Jesse Owens, and this is 6th grade. I had heard the name. I knew it was like he was an Olympic medal winner. Beyond that, I knew nothing. But I knew enough connecting those two to think highly of this guy who was going to come to our school.
Oh, wow.
And here's the relevance of the story. So this guy comes to our school, and there's a bunch of elementary school kids sitting on the gym floor, like sit Indian style, how you're taught to sit when somebody comes to talk.
Nowadays, they say crisscross applesauce, Chris. That's a little bit insensitive to say Indian style.
Crisscross applesauce. Okay, never heard that. Times have changed. So we were taught to sit crisscross applesauce. And I'm not sure if being a person whose first name is Chris, if I'm offended by that myself. And now
Yeah,
we
that's
have
a good
to,
point.
Yeah.
Just sit applesauce style.
Yeah, or legs crossed applesauce, whatever. Is this offensive to people who are named Chris because it's simple?
It's simple, right? It deduces. It's reductive. Yeah.
Right? I've introduced the fucking you and
Yeah,
your
right.
microaggressions.
So happy we haven't-
It is a Saturday
Fuck yeah.
night show. Anyway, in 6th grade, I processed this in my head. So Jesse Owens came and he spoke to our class. And he talked about, I won these medals. Hitler, at that time, the European conflict was going on and we weren't involved. I think, was Pearl Harbor not 1939?
Oh.
Whatever.
Yeah.
1939 has some relevance date-wise. But anyway, and then he said, and now I work for Ford. He worked on an assembly line.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, Olympic medalist, assembly line, like this does not compute.
Right.
But it does compute. But anyway, in 6th grade, I could not connect those dots, which to this day I think was really interesting.
Yeah.
And like, part of it is I'm so fucking smart. No surprise. And the other was just like, it didn't compute. And I don't, today, if you win like however many golds he won, you're on the fucking cover of Wheaties and Sports Illustrated, and you're getting endorsement deals, and you're not working on an assembly line at 50 years old,
No
talking
way.
talking to 200 elementary school kids sitting crisscross applesauce.
Yeah.
Just like you said, put a pin in it.
Sure. Yeah. But
But you made me think of something that I otherwise would never have spoken about ever again in my life, and I felt compelled to talk about it.
that's
So,
what the show's for.
yeah. So backing up.
I was talking about the.
Detroit, Red Wings, Pistons, Tigers, Lions. I'm part of the city. I'm gonna root for them. It's as simple as that, and whatever.
If that's the case, then you are someone that I have no beef with. However, I forgot my point. Oh, the joke I said because the outcome
guy
of any.
sitting back. Why'd you throw that pass? Right? And then you're like,
Is he gonna? Did he threaten your family? That's what I'm saying. It's like, what's going on? The outcome of any given sporting event, unless you're a gambler, has
did he
no
threaten your
relevant.
family.
The outcome
Matthew Stafford's throwing line drives at my fucking front door.
that son of a bitch. Line drives. Unless the outcome of any given sporting event has no real world effect other than the effect of the individuals who allow it to.
So if the guys you're talking about had said, sorry to interrupt, had said, so given this, rah Detroit position I've taken, it's more fun to win than lose, and that's all there is to it. Would you be like, okay, another high five, thank you very much?
Yeah, same thing, same exact thing, whatever. Yeah.
I thought I was going to be able to present you with something insightful that I understood that you didn't, but I don't.
So you
Now-
kind of
now-
agree with what not necessarily agree.
Now that
but
having been said, I thought of one other thing that is sad and potentially offensive to people, which is they have nothing better to do with their lives and
that's
or minds.
what that's where my mind goes, and it's just I don't want to be that pessimistic about it. It's like, do you not get that kind of
I don't know if it's pessimistic. It's realistic. It's like we've said, I'm a pragmatist, right? We've
Right.
kind of boiled that down to kind of where I stand,
Right,
kind
but-
of politically and
But to me, intellectually, that was a easy out. I didn't want that to be the answer because that was a bad answer. And so I kind of, even though I didn't like that answer and came quickly, I didn't like that. So I wanted to get to the bottom of it. I'm like, do these
That-
people just not get this kind of satisfaction from their marriage or their family or their work? That they need this kind of thing to like bolster it?
so all I have to say to that is yes, 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 and yes.
Yeah. Which is sad, but whatever. At least you found your thing.
You know what?
And
I
I'm
don't-
not. That's why I don't tell people it's stupid.
I'm not sure it's
but it
sad
is.
because you know what? As much as I make fun of it, sitting down on a Sunday afternoon with a bag of Ruffles and some fucking French onion dip and a 6-pack of beer and watching the cars go in circles, I guess that's okay.
Because it's your thing, and who the fuck am I? Yeah, so that's why I don't have a beef.
The
with
thing
you.
is, the thing is, you're not getting somebody who wants to do that. By virtue of them wanting to do that, they're not going to have the self-awareness to say to somebody like you, "This is why I do it."
because I want to.
They go around and around,
Car crash, boom, fire,
right? Shiny object, or what did
Yeah.
you say last time?
squirrel.
Squirrel.
Yeah, right. My dog is back. He was like, never mind. My parents were out of town, and it was hard to, like take care of him. So we put him, gave him to a sitter for a while. But anyway,
He was in doggy jail,
doggy jail. Yeah, but
doggy rehab.
yeah, doggy rehab. So we, just yesterday, I was using that on him. I was like, squirrel. He's just like, what? Wow, where? Total attention grabber. But anyway,
That's what it is. That's the reality. And you want to know something? Think about this. Go back to, and I derive a lot of this from the movie Gladiator, which is maybe sad, maybe not, which is the Coliseum in the games. So I don't know if it was every day or every Saturday or twice a week or whatever the fuck the schedule was. You fill that stadium and you get 50,000 people live, and then water cooler talk afterwards.
yeah.
You entertain the masses.
Yes. Now here's my two questions. One from, well, I'm not going to speak to the Gladiator fans. I would say that that's a pretty simple. We know why they're there. Now,
But it's
next
totally
que-
analogous.
Right. But the next thing is the gladiator himself, whose purpose is to perform well at his job, which is killing other dudes, right? Or maiming them, whatever, first blood,
Or catching passes.
Right. There you go. Yeah. Do you, if you derive your motivation from the feeling of glory, which is given to you by those fans in the audience at that moment, if you were aware of what those people why they watch you, are you still allowed to feel good about yourself? Like,
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
because you're like, these people are a bunch of fucking bums.
So have I used the analogy of the highest paid janitor in Wayne County on
A few
the show?
times, yeah.
So if I unclog a bunch of toilets, do I get to feel good about myself?
But that's not my question. My question is if it's specifically from the glory that you get instead of I'm doing my job well, which is to entertain the masses, which is different.
Aren't they the same thing?
No, because the glory is self-centered, whereas entertaining the masses has a public utility.
I'm not sure they're different.
I think that you could mistake it for glory if you weren't self-aware enough to be like, hey, there's unrest in the city of I don't know where, whatever,
But
in Athens.
do you have to be self-aware to derive a difference in when the outcome is exactly the same?
It matters to me
the
because of what the
gratification-
person's
yeah, but
mindset is.
The gratification is kind of semantics.
No, I'm trying to understand the person. I'm not trying to understand the process. That's simple enough. But
The person who catches the pass, or the person who watches the person catching the pass?
the player, the gladiator. Let's
Okay.
stick to that. It's easy. But
Okay.
so the gladiator.
Well, they're two different. Okay.
I'm fucking awesome. That's it. Whatever. It's an analogy. You know, we could say.
No.
Yeah.
I know.
That guy.
I understand the conversation
right,
I'm
right.
in
Well, you're not demonstrating that. So
because I'm old and uncreative and not innovative anymore.
absolutely no innovation whatsoever. That guy, is he proud of himself, or does he only do it to get those cheers, or does he do it because there's a greater cause, which is to avoid rioting in my city, which is
Yes, and no. If you remember your questions,
yeah.
yes, and no.
Okay, so he does it for the glory.
He does it for the glory. He does it for the self-gratification. I would say that professional athletes are, with exceptions, clueless of the greater good.
I was gonna say, so then are you still? And I shouldn't say allowed because you're your own person. Again, you can do your own things for your own reasons. But is it as, I guess, meaningful, the glory that you receive, if it is from a bunch of bored people, so to speak, people who are just bored, nothing
You know
better
what?
to do?
If I were an athlete, I would say more so.
Really?
Yeah, because I'd say I'm giving somebody without anything to root for something to root for.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's a fair point.
But I'm not most guys who have the capacity of a professional athlete. Sorry.
And I'd say
Sorry, guys.
but that is a good cause though. That is a greater cause.
Yeah.
It's not for me.
Well, but again, that's where. So I'm discounting what I've said to you, which is high five. Thank you for telling me that. Now I get it, and I'll leave you alone. The athlete doesn't get that. He wants to score the touchdown that game, that day, and he wants the check for doing it.
And that's a much simpler equation. But
Well, it's the reality.
yeah. But the gladiator, that's why I like the gladiator in the arena, because he's a slave. You know, he's not doing it for like when you go to a point. But yeah.
Well, ask Colin Kaepernick if whether or not
I'd say that would be delusion is what his motivator is.
I think I don't know. It's kind of part of this conversation in a different level or plane or.
And here's where I say I respect you, football fans. After that stuff happened, a lot of people were boycotting going to the games. So we had some of the emptiest stadiums of all time ever. And because these people are like, I don't fucking care what your agenda is. I want to watch these sports because it's what I want to do. I
Then
don't fucking care
politicize it.
about your stupid goals.
I'm
right?
here. Yeah.
And I say, rah-rah to you
if
guys.
you had said to some of those people, are you aware that you're going to these stadiums to be entertained and nothing else? They'd say no, and they'd disagree with you, and they wouldn't understand why.
And I'd say, well, please explain to me your...
They would think like the flag and the national anthem being played and a bunch of guys running around throwing a football are somehow related.
Right. So here's something funny. My buddy today,
And you know what?
Yeah.
From a perspective, including my own, they are.
Yeah.
And if we want to talk about Colin Kaepernick, and I've never, ever, ever heard this argument presented, and I've wanted to call into Sports Talk Radio when this shit comes up to present this kind of hypothesis, we can do that. But finish your buddy.
We were on our way out, whatever, going home, and I'm like,
today.
Yeah, my point, which is just, hey, a sporting event affects no real change in our world. There's nothing. And he goes, yeah, it does. Like, if the Lions lose, I feel much worse. But if they win on a Monday, I'm feeling happy. And I'm like, no, you're fucking letting that affect you. That's not real change. That's chemical change in your brain because you're feeling something.
The thing is, though, he's making a choice whether he's aware of it or not, and you're judging it. So it's kind of shame on you.
But you can also make the choice not to care.
Yeah, but so you've read, right, Dostoevsky and Solzhenitsyn and all those people, and you've vested your time, and he could be like, dude, why the fuck do you do that? And he could judge you, but shame on him for that.
Fair enough. But my point is just his sadness really comes to the meat of what I'm talking about, which is, why do you care so much, including the losses, which make you sad when you have the ability to just be like, brush it off, no big deal, because it's just a sport.
Yeah, but you and I are doing this podcast because we give a fuck about the direction the world's going in. And somebody could say, you two are wasting your fucking time. Watch sports.
I would say, I'm going to bite my tongue.
No. Say it, because I have a response to it. Playing devil's advocate.
I don't even have the words to it, but
Just say the response, though, because what
I want to say
is
is
a good point.
Michael Malice is one of his things. Imagine being this person. It's like,
okay,
what?
That's tough, right?
Yeah.
But now I forgot my response. But whatever you were going to say, I was going to say, well, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
We all get to make our choices.
And that's why it's hard for me to make a judgment call on it, because I don't really care, and it's not my life. You're not making me watch sports, so go ahead and do whatever the fuck you want. I'm just saying I don't get it.
But it's like a guy saying, you know what? You go to your buddy's house, and you guys think about this for a week, and you get on, and I don't understand half of what you say, and what I do understand is kind of snobby and disinteresting to me, because it makes me think too hard, and fuck you.
I'd say, dude, that's cool. We're not trying to reach out to you. I'm saying, like, you'd say, you're not my ideal audience member.
No, it's not cool, because you and your Mr. Smarty fucking pants and your buddy get on there and fucking pass judgment on me and my guys and people who watch NASCAR and watch football, and fuck you.
I'm not passing judgment. Let me just make that clear.
No,
yeah. Oh, but no, I get.
But he doesn't get that.
That's a good point. Yeah. Let me make that clear. You are allowed to do with your time whatever you feel like your time is worth doing. I'm not going to tell you that that's stupid. You can, and I don't like people who say that shit. Like, if you enjoy doing something and someone comes up and says, that's fucking dumb, and you're like, dude, I like this. Or like, you like ice cream. The guy's like, fucking ice cream, you idiot. Like, grow up and why don't you
drink beer?
Yeah, it's like, I like this stuff. It makes me happy. Who the fuck are you? Get out of here. And why do you give a shit? You're fucking stupid for caring. How about that? Yeah. I'm just trying to understand
I guess there's two ways
the
to
enigma.
look at it, right? Yeah, you're not gonna.
It's just such a huge thing. What are they? $16.4 billion this year already?
Is that what it is?
Something crazy like that. Biggest year ever or something.
Really?
Well, I don't know. That might be bullshit.
In terms of like viewership and ratings. And
I read an article
for football.
Yeah, but that might not be a real fact.
No, I believe
that might be fake news. 16 billion, I thought, and I'm like, such a huge thing, and then so much that I just don't. I do not get it.
Let me ask you this. Yeah, but you kind of do, because we've gotten there, which is you got to root for something.
Root for yourself.
I know where I was going when I said I forgot my thought. There is a so there's the Jeffrey Feiger ad.
Yeah.
If you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing. So they're picking something.
Okay.
And then there's another rock and roll song.
So the sport itself, which is really my root point, the sport itself is absolutely, undeniably arbitrary in this equation.
Yeah, they're just picking a
It
flag.
doesn't fucking matter. And so that is my whole point.
Well, it does, though, because they're picking a flag. They're saying, you know what? I do give a shit. And just people don't have the self-awareness to say this, but let's say they did. I do give a shit, and it's low-hanging fruit, so that's what I'm grabbing.
Yeah.
Because if you live in Detroit, you didn't go to college, you're 25 years old, you're working a job, and come Saturday and Sunday, you kind of don't know what to do with yourself, so you watch the Pistons and you watch the Red Wings and you listen to the Tigers.
Or you do a podcast.
Or you do a podcast, right? And that's what you do. And
Yeah.
and at least you're grabbing a flag and waving it.
Sure, I guess. Yeah, that's fine. And the social aspect's cool. I think that's totally.
It gets into. It just gets into qualifying what people care about, and that's a slippery slope that I am also totally guilty of.
You say that you're a slave to football?
After our podcast last week, I told you a good friend of mine asked me, what's my biggest flaw?
Yeah.
And you pointed a couple of things out to me. Thank you very much.
More than a few.
More than a few. But the thing I thought of myself, which is my biggest fault, is I judge people.
Which everybody does. You just don't have to make it known.
No, they
right?
don't.
Oh.
I think the person who watches cars going around the track on Sunday, I don't think they're judging people. I just think they're eating their potato chips, drinking their beer.
What kind of a car is that? That guy doesn't judge people.
Crash, round, crash, right?
By the way, your tires are bald. That guy's not judging anybody.
Yeah, we haven't told that story on
We
air.
won't.
No, that's a great story. That's a funny story. We'll save it for another
Okay.
time. But your tire's bald.
Those are actually racing slicks. What?
Right. We'll tell the story later. You guys are lost. Sorry.
Sorry.
They're just picking up a flag. At least they're doing that.
Yeah.
Because then there's people who don't do that, and they decide that all black people are niggers, and that's their fucking fight. N-word. No, but it was meant in a constructive way, right?
Yeah.
And that's the white supremacist.
Disavow.
The flag.
Disavow.
No, the flag he's picking up is, I'm fucking white, I'm better, and this is my fight.
Yeah.
I'd rather hang out with a guy who likes football.
That's a good point. Yeah. And the real question would be how many of those guys who like football would have fallen into one of the other categories?
Okay, now
I'm just joking.
I apologize on behalf of Charlie.
I'm not the one dropping M-bombs.
It was spoken in an italicized.
It had
way.
an asterisk.
No,
Yeah.
it was italicized.
Oh, okay. Got it. Right. Yeah.
Or in quotes, whatever. If you're a grammar maven.
It wasn't
No,
quotes.
it wasn't in air quotes. It was in quotes.
Real quotes. Yeah. And capitalized.
Right? Why can't I digress here, but so N-word, why will I not be a Republican? The first thing when I realized that I cannot and will not be part of that party is I can't be a part of a party that courts votes who think of black people as niggers. Can't fucking... I'm not... Sorry, I ain't you. And you know what? Sometimes you need to use that word to demonstrate how fucking ugly it is.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I ain't signing up for that party. Sorry. As much of it as I agree with as much of another party I won't fucking sign up for.
I was going to say could care less, but that sounds, I don't know. That sounds like I'm apathetic. The whole like race thing to me, if that's anywhere on your radar, you lost me already, because to me, it's not important at all. It means nothing. Race doesn't matter. Like whatever. It doesn't affect who you are. Unless, whatever, unless it's your cultural thing, but that's almost kind of meaningless too. So if you're caring about
Right.
that, either way, like, hey, I'm great for being this, or I don't like that kind of guy, you're already dropping the ball on yourself. So
You are so your expectations are too high of people.
no, I'm just saying that I'd say that most people probably put.
Well, I'm backing up to the very beginning of this whole podcast, which is Why do people root for teams? You're expecting too much of them to think that there's going to be more to it.
Yeah, in that regard, but I don't. I think that probably a lot of people care about race secretly, and they just don't let on. And it's I don't.
I think the people who keep it a secret are bad people who think bad things. And you know what? This brings me to something I've wanted to say on a whole bunch of podcasts that I thought about talking about today if we hadn't had other topics, which is the people who want to sit on the sidelines and watch the Warriors fight, I think are a lot of the people that you and I actually are fighting for. And I'm going to, so I've done this math, and I wish I'd thought about this before so I could give my little example. But so like trans people, right? In social justice battles seem to be tapering off a little. The whole trans thing has quieted down, and part of that is, common foes. Right now, the common foe is Donald Trump, so everybody's real focused on that, right? People in cages, the borders. When's the last time you heard of that? Since well before the whole,
the public, but
but Trump's, the impeachment thing.
Right. I'm just saying the public has a short attention span. And there's always new shit. It's part of the whole machine.
Did they have a short attention span, or like I always say, shame on the fucking news for just recreating it every day?
Also that, yeah.
Also that, for sure. But anyway, where was I going with this?
We're fighting for the guy who watches the show because he's the one who cares about it, and the people that don't.
Okay, here's my example with math. So trans people, they're 0.3% of the population, which I think is high. 3 in 1,000 people, right? And we have, it's literally taking up, back when Bruce/Caitlyn Jenner was a topic and all that, how much of the news was it taking up? I promise you, more than 0.3%. I promise you. Was it taking up 10%, 20%, 30%? A lot. And when you get into reality TV and bullshit news, which is half the place people get their news, more than that. The point being, so it kind of gets down to my things, which I think you've bought into, which is greater good and critical mass.
Yeah.
Right? So 0.3% of the people are trans. You got conservatives who are they're fucked up and they don't follow the Bible, and
but I think that it's not actually true though.
Let me finish the thought because I'll lose myself. And they're going to hell and on and on and on. Then you got social justice warriors who are the exponential progressives, and they're fighting for them whether trans people want to be fought for or not. Yeah. My understanding is, many of whom are just fucking leave us alone and let us try to live our lives, because all you're doing is bringing attention to me.
I was just about to say that. You're just making it a thing.
I don't fucking need, right?
Yeah.
So you got Bible thumpers and whoever else fighting social justice warriors, and they comprise more than 0.3%. So you got maybe 5% here and 5% here. So you got 10% of the population saying how fucked up it is. 0.3% of the population saying, thank you for fighting for me, or half of that saying thank you for fighting for me, or maybe a third, or maybe 10%, and maybe 90% saying, you're calling attention to me that I really, really, really don't want. The point being,
and I vote conservative.
So the point being, 90% of the American public is you know what? I don't want to fight about that. I don't want to fight about that. And some of that 90% is watching NASCAR on Sunday, and you and I we're part of the 5% because we're talking about it, whether we've taken a side or not. But the other 90%, they just want to sit on the sidelines and watch the fight, or not even just wish that fight wasn't being fought, because they get drug into it. And if they have an opinion, and if my opinion is, when I take my daughter, so I live in Podunk, Pennsylvania, and when I take my daughter to Pennsylvania, just the thought of listening to all this shit of somebody who's 6'5" with, shoulders a mile
yeah,
wide and
right,
an
yeah.
Adam's apple, wearing a pink dress, comes into the ladies' room, and my daughter says, Mommy, why is a man in a dress in here? Right? And can't explain and doesn't even want to explain and probably doesn't even understand nor has thought
Or
about
plan, right.
this whole thing about, well, we're gender transitional now in America. They just want to go into a bathroom where there's no confusion with their 8-year-old daughter. And North Carolina's solution was, well, we'll just do a gender neutral bathroom. And they got fucking smoked for it, right? People pulled out of different events in that state, including the NBA, right? They pulled either the finals or some playoff games. Who's sticking up for the lady who just wants her kid to go to a Miley Cyrus concert and go in a bathroom that isn't going to potentially confuse her kid or scare her?
Yeah. And
Do you remember me talking about the people I met with Toronto and my buddy in the
pizzeria
in the
or
Space
bar.
Needle?
Oh, yeah.
And they'd
Yeah.
never seen a building over 3
Yeah,
stories.
right.
I'm talking about them.
Yeah.
I want to speak for them and say, you know what? I don't want to come to Toronto and put myself or my kid or whoever
In that situation.
in that
Right.
situation.
And I kind of fall into that. I could give a shit what your fucking personal preferences are as long as you're not creating an awkward situation for my toddler or if you're not harming me. I don't really care about that.
Which equates to a really simple statement is, as long as you're not jamming yourself down my throat.
Exactly. And that's how I feel about most of that, most of that, civil rights
But
shit, whatever.
moving forward, I want to speak more for those people
Yeah.
who just want to sit on the
Well,
sidelines.
this football episode was not,
Yeah.
not fair
Who
with
just
those
want to
people.
sit on the sidelines, metaphorically speaking,
Yeah.
and watch the activists fight on each end and be left alone when they come to watch Miley Cyrus.
Yeah. There you go. All right.
Because I think that's fair. Just fucking leave me alone.
And don't ask my opinion on it because then I got to pick a side, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't make me pick a side.
Yeah.
So whatever. I mean, I've strayed off, but that was a point I wanted to make that I've wanted to make for many, many weeks, many months now, and just never
Sure.
had the
Yeah.
venue in our conversations to do it.
Yeah, I like
But
it.
anyway, so back to your thing. They're just picking up a flag because it's the flag that's easiest to pick up. It's there.
I'm going to send this to my buddy and he'll be like, fuck you. He's going to watch it and be like, fuck you guys. No, this has meaning. No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
But just, that's fine. I don't care that it doesn't have meaning. Just be honest with
You know
me.
what has meaning? Trump, in his illustrious wisdom, pulled our special ops guys who were directing the Turks, who were our ISIS allies, out of Syria, and now those fuckers are fighting for their life. And the United States is literally at risk for a heightened ISIS presence moving forward. That matters.
I thought there was they were reduced to 95% of their peak, whatever, membership.
Yeah, but their prisons. So the Turks are saying, and this kind of doesn't matter. My point is, this is something.
But didn't you start
this
this
is
by
some-
saying this matters?
Yeah, no,
Kinda
no,
doesn't
but
matter.
but the point
Oh.
is, this matters.
Yeah.
Not that we need to delve into the.
Oh, I'm sorry. I see what you're saying. Yes, that's my point.
That's a flag.
That's
That's a flag
worth picking up.
worth picking up.
Right. Yes, I see what you're saying.
So
yeah.
there's lions flags and tigers flags laying everywhere. Right? You look down, you live in Detroit, you pick one up, go Lions.
And at the end of the year, whichever flag was higher, so to speak, on that flagpole, it didn't change a goddamn thing, except for how a few people felt about it.
Except for the fact they had something that had
To do.
in your world. No. You had something in your world that had more value to root for.
Sure. Yeah.
Because guess what everybody wants to be? A winner.
Yeah.
And so
Not me. I just glide. Just coast.
you want to be a winner, but you have the
joking.
presence of mind, the self-awareness, the drive, there's points I'm missing, but I'll stop there, to want to be a better you.
Yeah.
And you're going to measure it in terms of things that
Are tangible.
are tangible, and that are tangible as an individual,
Yeah.
not just some easy collective.
Something that I had no part in.
Let's put it this way: the umbrella. What's the thing umbrellas are in? When
An
you go
umbrella
out and
holder?
out the door,
What?
an
like
umbrella.
A stand?
Yeah, like a stand where there's umbrellas.
Like a bowl
So-
thing? I don't know.
So there's a thing at the door. There's a round thing at the door that's this high, and it's got flags in it. And you walk at the door and you grab one. What's the easiest one to grab? Lions, tigers.
Lions. Bears on mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I think that's the reality, and I totally empathize with your frustration. I gave up on that long ago.
It's not necessarily frustration. It's just I like to understand stuff, and that never made sense to me. And I guess it's just because everyone in my life has been lying to me all along. Yeah.
No, they're not. They just don't want to think that hard.
Well, my friends are gonna love me after this.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
And
Take that.
So, sorry,
Yeah.
Charlie's friends. And you know what? You're welcome to come here next week or the week after
And explain to us why it really does
and
matter.
substantiate this. But good luck with me.
If you can come on the show and explain to me how the outcome of a sporting event affects real change, other than how people feel about it reacting afterwards like a riot.
Right. So if they say,
Right.
you know what? Because on Sunday I will have had a better day.
That doesn't mean shit to me, right?
Yeah, but at least you give them a thank you very much,
Right. I'll say, okay, good. Yeah, you next, please. Yeah.
because that's what's important to me. That's a choice I've made for me, and fuck you.
And if you feel like that, then you're agreeing with us. I'm right. Like, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, because I want you to have that. I don't want you to be deprived of that or have me
When I
bearing
go out the
down on you.
door, I
Yeah.
go out the door, I grab my flag. It's a flag I choose to wave, and fuck you.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah. More power to you, but you're not living your best life. Just kidding. Boom! Shots fired.
Bam! Right. That's where I have the self awareness to, and no, you're just right now. I think you're ripping on your buds, but
Yeah. I'm just fucking with you guys.
I'm judgmental. I try to keep it to myself, and I try to understand it's unique to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I just like the Ayn Rand philosophy thing where she's like, two consequences of being rational and using logic exclusively is you'll never do something without knowing what you're doing, and you'll always know why you're doing something. So it's like, you got to know why you're doing it.
That's not most of the world,
It's,
right?
But she's talking about the ideal man, and most of the world's not the ideal man. So
For sure.
that's just my point. It's like I try to live up to that and,
So
explain it to me.
I agree with you. And from the day I started thinking about it, and I don't know if I was 14 or 18 or 24, but started thinking about the same kinds of things, and now I'm 53, and I don't let it bother me. And you're still in a point where you're letting it bother you.
Well, now that I will struggle for a little while about when this comes up in the future or near future, and I'll have to bite my tongue and be like, you just don't know why you're doing this. Like they say, sports and
But here's
entertainment.
the thing. Just some advice from me to you.
Yeah.
If you bite your tongue, you're wasting the energy of your jaw, and you're wasting the pain on your tongue.
Let's see. I'll try that tomorrow at work, and we'll see how people feel.
It won't
about
work.
Yeah, right.
Because it's just a day. But you'll get there.
It will be so.
This all goes back to my analogy. Cars going around. Crash. Yay. Beer and chips. Cars going around. Beer and chips. Crash. Yay.
If I start telling people that stuff, they will hate me. If this comes up, they'll be like, "Why do you like sports?" I'll be like, You don't really like it either. You just
Because you don't have
entertained by
anything
it.
better to do with your life. But it's okay, because, I don't know. So we're doing this, right? This is in terms of offering something to society and or the world. This is the most value I present in a week in terms of just esoteric value,
Sure.
right? I go to work, I get a paycheck. That's measurable value.
Yeah.
That's why I said this is esoteric.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do something, right? I said, "Hey, I'm going to do this. You want to be part of it?" And you're like, "Absolutely."
Hell yeah. Yeah. I was excited when you said that.
Yeah.
Still working my old job.
And yeah. Well, whatever.
That was a shit show.
But like it or not, we have become activists. It's what we're doing.
I don't want to have a big head and say that, but I think,
This is activism.
yeah.
We said,
Trying
fuck
to-
it, man. We're going to get on a microphone and
Inform.
express opinions on shit that we think matters. And then think about the week and do it again a week later.
Yeah. That's what it is.
So are we bigger than the sports fan or the NASCAR fan or whatever? I don't know.
But then that's the judgment thing. So
That's why I said I don't
right,
know.
Right.
And you know what? I don't know is I'm not being honest.
That's what I'm saying.
That having been
But-
said, sometimes you take the high road.
And the sports fan would look at this and be like, who the fuck cares what you're talking about, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Here, let me tell you something, because I thought about this earlier, and I thought this was worthwhile. And I kind of mentioned it, like, so I've chosen college football as a hobby. Watching college football is a hobby. It's nothing more, right? If Michigan, so I like watching college football from the first football gets kicked at noon, the last football gets kicked at like 10 at night on the West Coast, and there are football games on all day long.
Yeah.
And most Saturdays, I watch them all day long. That said, when my alma mater plays and they lose, it takes the cherry off watching college football for the whole rest of the day. And that's because
You're irrational.
I'm irrational and it's a hobby.
Yeah.
And I get that. And I've had this conversation with my brother, who's a smart guy. And we're like, yeah, Michigan plays early. So, I mean, the whole thing is like so fucking subjective and irrational, which is if Michigan's kickoff is at 8 o'clock.
And they're done by noon. You're like,
Well, no.
fuck.
Let's say Michigan's game is at 8 o'clock, and they're going to get their ass handed to them.
Yeah.
And I start watching football at noon. So I watch 2 games and pay attention to 3 or 5 or 7 more. I'm having fun during that period. And then kickoff for Michigan, and within 5 minutes they're down 10-0, and it just fucking unravels from there. I go to bed kind of unhappy with the outcome of my hobby 13 weeks a year in the fall on Saturdays. And I'm aware of that, as is my brother. And we're like, so let's say the kickoff is at noon and Michigan does well. All those other games, none of which matter to me, I just like watching them. But it's fun to watch the physical endeavor and the whole college thing unfold. And does it mean anything more than that? Nope. It's 13 Saturdays a year, and whoever wins the national championship, it is what it is, and it's totally anecdotal, which means it's just a story, right? And it goes away. That's not a fair definition of anecdotal, but it is in terms of football. And then you move on. You move on to the next week. You move on to the next season. And whoever was last year's national championship, it probably wasn't your team. And even if it was, who fucking cares? But it was entertaining while you watched it. So my brother and I were like, we're totally irrational beings. Michigan loses. And these games that don't matter to you are less enjoyable throughout the rest of the day. We're like, how dumb are we?
That is all I wanted to know. That's all I cared about. That's my only question. It's just like, what is the big secret?
So I guess your friends, if they watch this and they hear me say that, and you're going to be like, why aren't you like him? They're going to,
Never thought about
You
it like that before.
no, they're going to probably like, we've watched a show, we didn't like that guy to begin with, and now we really don't like him.
Fuck that guy.
All the while, I'm
That guy's
wearing
a
fucking U of
jackass.
M gear,
Yeah.
and I want my team to win.
Go blue.
Because it's as simple as that. It's just fucking
Yeah.
football. And I like watching it. And guys throw a fucking,
So that's the thing. So
oblong ball around and, wave a flag. Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's something at my work is people tell me all the time when I'm like, what the fuck about this? What the fuck about that? Like, why is this like this? What's doing this? They always go, Charlie, you're looking too much into it. You're looking too much into it. So that's what's happening here. I was
Or-
looking too much into it.
Or I didn't watch the game and I don't have the answer, and they're really not going to get that. And it's not because you're above it. It's not because he's above it. It's because he just doesn't care.
Yeah.
And there's
Which is this
there's
fucking the
so-
other side of that same coin. Yeah.
It's the exact
It's
same
the exact
thing.
same shit, right?
It is the exact same thing. And I don't think people are going to get that.
I just don't.
How do you say it's the exact same thing? I care how many yards Matthew Stafford threw for, and I don't. And it's the same version. It's a different version of the same thing.
It's
just the
arbitrarily important to you, and it is meaningless to me.
right.
in all
It's the
senses,
value
right.
you put on
Yeah.
an arbitrary thing.
Yeah.
And you put lots, and I put
Absolutely none.
little to none,
No,
and
just none.
trying to throw people a bone.
Nope.
So he puts none, right? So infinitely valuable, infinitely not valuable. They're both infinity, so they either zero each. They can't. Anyway, sorry, I'm going down a math rabbit hole. You can't
It's
divide by
okay.
zero.
My friend today just goes, I think you're just like 2% of the people that don't like football. And I'm like, I don't even have a beef with football in
Yeah, it's not-
particular. Yeah.
right, it's not-
Right. It's like-
Right, that's the first thing that ran through my head was it's not football.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing with your time?
It's right. It's what people vest in football.
Why do you
and I
care
don't
about it?
get
Yeah, yeah. The emotional
It just
investment.
goes back to I'm from Detroit. I want to be part of the Detroit community, and a large piece of that are sports teams.
See, I would disagree. I would say that the city itself is more important than the teams, right? So,
No,
like,
Yeah, but when you go to a community identity, it's all the shit that goes on, and part of that for people is
okay,
sports,
sure.
right?
What about like we're
But you
Detroit,
win the
where here
World
our
Series.
big thing is economic growth.
So what do you think about this? Tigers win the World Series. Lions win the Super Bowl. There's going to be a ticker tape parade, and 1 million or more people are going to show up. Got to root for some, I guess. I don't guess. I know.
Yeah, and that was
And
where
I think
my
you do.
first
I think you do too.
years ago. My first like, because I never really cared about it my whole life, and I tried. Like I told you, I tried gambling on it to care about it, and then the first time I ever was like,
Well, I didn't know that, and that's commendable. So, listen up.
so there's a social thing, and you feel left out. You're like guys, you're like talking about football, and you're like, I could.
Well,
just
that's
fucking
even
not
more
care.
humbling. That's like a nice thing to share.
Yeah, but the thing for me, I just one day when I learned how much money goes into it, I was like, what? Where else could that money have gone? You know, and then I just went from there. And then I was like, is this really worth it? But it's
Yeah.
not up for me to decide because those people are spending the money their own way they
Yeah,
want.
economically, gambling's kind of a zero-sum game, though.
No, I'm not saying gambling. I'm saying just like the $16 billion that gets spent on like the NFL, you know, like revenue or whatever.
And yeah, in terms of tickets and
Yeah, all that shit.
jerseys
Yeah.
and all that. Yeah, well, look at the money multiplier. Did
I
you-
just say, look at what people want to spend money on, and is that one of them? Sure, that's fine with me.
Yeah, but you got. I mean, maybe these aren't people you're working with, but there's people. You know, if you're sorting packages at a big box store, or greeting people at the entrance to, a big ass.
Walmart.
I was trying to leave a name out of it, but what do we call those stores? Like a
Garbage?
super center, a big ass super center, or what? Ouch!
Oh,
Ouch!
sorry, I'm feeling
Anyway,
aggressive today.
I don't know. They're doing something with their money. They're making themselves. They're being part of something.
Yeah, whatever. That's fine. Go ahead.
Well, no. You're passing judgment.
But the thing is that I really am not. Like, I'm just, It's
No,
absolutely.
you are, and I do it all the time.
But
But you wanted to talk about it today, and that's fine. That's why we're doing the show.
just because I had to talk about it with my buddy. And by passing judgment, like I just want to clarify, I don't despise people who like sports or even like think less of you.
Yeah, but
I
you're
just didn't get it, and
Yeah, but
it's
you're-
frustrating to me.
I was going to say
Yeah.
you're frustrated by the fact that people have no clue why they're doing what they're doing.
But I didn't know that was the answer until just moments ago. For sure. So
That's the answer.
the thing is, I'm not frustrated that you like sports. I'm just frustrated that I didn't know, and I don't want you to be frustrated that I didn't know what the big secret
Well,
was, or that I don't give a fuck.
And by the way,
Yeah.
people who think I'm Joe fucking prick for
Most
basically most people for basically reinforcing Charlie's standpoint, I love college football and I like professional football. I don't watch a lot of professional football because I waste half my weekend watching it on Saturday, and Sunday I got better shit to do. That said, I'm a football fan. I played football in high school. And you ever heard the song Glory Days by Bruce Springsteen?
The glory day.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen to that song again. It's kind of a sad song.
I thought it was always a sad song.
Yeah, but now that you have this perspective, listen to it again. You'd be like, wow. So, like those of us who played, I'm not, having played high school football, and I didn't aspire to play college football. I always wanted to go to U of M, and when you weigh 160 pounds, you just ain't got nothing there.
Yeah. Or if you're just innately weak like me, so.
That too. Thanks for throwing him a bone.
That guy's a pussy. Oh, he just admitted it. Fuck.
Fucker, son of a bitch. And by the way, we're white. Right? Fuckers.
Motherfuckers. Yeah. Fuck you, Linnaeus.
Anyway. I was going to say something that meant something.
With the words?
Oh, just, I don't know. People are picking up a flag. At least you got to applaud them for that.
And that, I just want to say that I now feel bad. Like, I don't know. Because for some people, I'm sure it's nostalgia. Like, it brings back a happier time for them, or like they used to play, or their son does, or whatever. And it's important to them because of all that stuff. And I don't want to diminish what it is. And I hate people who do that. So don't feel bad or like be mad at me, because I don't matter in your life. I'm not someone who can fucking force you to do something.
See, that's a self-awareness where people can't draw that distinction. And I will tell you, and I think I've said this, the biggest thing I derived out of living in a fraternity with 50 or 60 guys was not all people get along, and you just got to let it go. Why doesn't that guy like me? Because he just doesn't like me. Not everybody likes each other. And that's the way it goes. And not everybody agrees. And so if you do value, how Matthew Stafford performed, or fucking what's the running back's name? Johnson.
Calvin Johnson.
No, he's retired.
He's retarded?
He's retired.
Got him.
Anyway,
I didn't even know that he was retired. See, there you go. It just demonstrates.
shame I knew for not listening to sports talk radio. That happened a few years ago.
I could give a fuck.
I know that.
It just means absolutely nothing.
So where I was going was you played high school football, and you have this affinity for the sport. What
And
do
a
you
connection
do?
to it, yeah.
And you don't go to college.
Right.
Where do you go? The Lions.
Yeah.
Or some other pro sports team. But to your point, so just root for the team that's winning. Okay, right there, you're gonna solicit enemies because they're gonna say, so you're just a fucking fair weather fan. You jump from team to team because of who's winning.
And I'd be like, you know that only matters when it's sports, right? And you can do that in pretty much all their walks of life without any social repercussions. Yeah. So
you went
just as football.
Well,
Let me point that out.
You went here.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna go here and say, I'm not a dumbass. I'm gonna root for who wins Because I want to be happy every Sunday.
That's nothing to do with it. It's just like
No, I just thought that's
Yeah,
where
right.
you were going.
But I'm just saying,
Like,
fucking.
I'm not stupid. I'm going to root for
Yeah.
a winner. Who did you, or you wait until the day's done.
Yeah.
And who did you root for today? Oh, I rooted for New England,
right.
Pittsburgh. How'd you come to that conclusion? Well, I went to see the scores.
And then I said, great, my team's won.
I picked
Yeah.
all the winners.
Yeah. Try that fucking logic with stocks, and then see if someone goes, you can't switch now. You're a fair weather fucking stock buyer.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I was trying to dig you out of a hole. You just dug yourself in deeper.
I'm in this bitch right now. I'm fucking. This is my trench, man.
You
I'm
were
staying
in the
in it.
belly of the beast.
I'm not wrong. I don't. What do you want from me? My logic is undeniable.
Well, hang on. Just because you're not wrong, does it make you right? They're not mutually inclusive.
In this case, they are.
Why?
Because of fair weather fan. Name another thing where that matters. Where there's a social stigma.
You're talking
Yeah,
specifically in reference to what I threw out.
exactly. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Now, yes, you're right.
Where else
Absolutely.
does that matter in life? If you, God, I don't fucking. What about with your own job? If some place is doing great and you want to work there because they can pay you more, and then they go under, are you gonna fucking try to work for them still? No, you're gonna fucking find the next good job. I don't like what.
Yeah, but I think that's because they're forced into a situation. That would be like the Lions folding as a corporation.
But I'm saying instead of working for some
you follow
shitty
my
middle
logic,
place,
though?
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
but-
I get what you're saying. That is forced into a situation.
Lions go
but
away. I like football. I need a new team. Right? Your job goes away. I need a job. I'm going to another company.
yeah, that's fair. Okay, well maybe not going away, but they have to start paying you less because of whatever. But actually, that's the same fucking thing. So never mind.
Kinda. No, it's not. Because I'll throw you a bone on this one. I'm not even throwing you a bone. I think this is the case. Is the Lions have a tradition of disappointing fans, and usually it's wins and losses. Okay, guys, it's all right. I lost my train of thought. Ricky, you fucked me up.
Being a fair weather fan is called being smart in any other aspect of life.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
That's the simplest way to put it. Simplicity is genius. All right, that's argument defeated.
That's really, really, really interesting.
And the only reason why it matters in football is because there's an emotional aspect, and that's what.
I'm from Detroit, you motherfucker, and I root for my fucking team.
So am I, bitch. I also root for Detroit. Fuck you. I'm in it. You root for a football team. I'm trying to make it better place.
You know what?
Yeah.
I say, bam, we're done.
Fuck yeah.
Later. Later.
Aggression. God damn it.